tonight in executive session. We're now ready to continue with the public portion of our meeting. Before we go into the President's report, I wanted to pause to remember Francesca Mucciolo, who was the wife of our former Superintendent John Mucciolo. Francesca passed away just about 2 weeks ago now, she was a wonderful person. She was an art teacher. She was a great lover of all kinds of culture. She was funny. She was very creative. She was also a working artist and had many exhibitions and shows, and a longtime wife of John. So they are going to have a celebration of her life at the Reeves Reed Arboretum, which is a place that they both loved, sometime in June. So I will let you know about all of that, but please keep John and his family and Francesca in your thoughts and prayers. The budget, the state budget, budget hearings have finished. We're in the Assembly and Senate budget committees, listen to all the department heads of all the government departments and ask questions about their budget. The Commissioner of Education has gone before both the Assembly budget and Senate budget committees and answered questions not just about his budget, but about assessments and anything that the Department of Ed spends $1 on, he has defended. So now the budget process for the state of New Jersey goes into its next phase, which is sort of the sausage-making phase, where they discuss priorities, make all the compromises that are necessary to be made, hopefully work with the governor's office, and come out with a budget, hopefully before the deadline of June 30th. So that is the President's report. Superintendent's report.
Just give you some updates on school events. Last week Betsy and I had the pleasure of attending the Essex County Honors Dinner. They honor all valedictorians and salutatorians for each high school in the county. Julia Ludwig and Ryan Henry were our representatives. I want to congratulate the girls lacrosse team for winning their 4th consecutive county championship. And this past weekend, Ridgewood Avenue School had their musical. This week we have the 3rd grade orientation that will happen both for the parents and the students with their buddy breakfasts. And we have AP and New Jersey student learning assessments continuing to happen. Next week there are 4 concerts happening, Sharing the Arts, the Rhino Round, and schools will be closed on Friday. In the week of the 27th, schools are closed Monday. We have Field Day at Ridgewood Avenue and Forest Avenue schools, and the music programs for the middle school and Ridgewood Avenue School, and there's a scheduled middle school dance. Construction update, Central is moving forward, drywall is going up on the wall. We're purchasing the furnishing for the classrooms. We've approved POs for a bunch of security features for Central School, and I'm in the midst of picking out playground equipment. Forest and Linden had their boilers removed in the last week and a half, so we're moving forward with the HVAC projects in those buildings. They continue to work in the evenings at Ridgewood, just preparing some piping in the hallways and some electrical work with the unit ventilators. We are having a traffic meeting on May 23rd in the town hall. That will be in conjunction with the police department and Mike Rollhall, the town administrator. And we are having a pre-K orientation on May 29th at Linden Avenue School.
Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Okay, we've come to the first public comment period for questions or comments on agenda items only. If you have a question or comment, excuse me, please identify yourself as a resident of Glen Ridge along with your name and tell me what's on your mind. Questions or comments?
I'll do a quick one.
Mr. John.
Harris Duran, I have kids in the district. Is P1 confidential?
I'm sorry, P1?
Yeah.
No, it's on the website. I think the exhibits are on. The exhibits should be on the website.
Other
Okay.
questions?
It should. Do we know? Is it? I mean, I don't understand. We have P2 and P3 here. Why not P1 on our, so then we walk?
It's like everybody.
It's everybody?
Every
It's very
year,
low list.
yeah.
Yes, we do this
All
every
school
year.
employees are hired for next school year.
Does that take into account the people that might be being let go from the last budget meeting that we had?
It's all the hires for next school year, so if they're not going to be hired for next school year, then those individuals wouldn't be on the list.
I'll look for it online, but if not, I'll send you a note, okay, there?
Other questions?
I do.
I'm sorry, Mr. Trot?
Were there any more additional people from the budget meeting, or were the people that you said that that were going to be, I don't want to use the word terminated if that's not the proper
It's
word,
non-renewed.
non-renewed? Are there any additional non-renewed that weren't part of the budget meeting?
As far, non-renewed in the sense of because of budget constraints, or non-renewed because we weren't satisfied?
Okay.
So there were other non-renewed individuals.
Were they for because you weren't satisfied or because
Yes.
of budget?
Because we weren't satisfied. There was no additional non-renewals based on our budget, besides the ones that were presented.
Okay, but to find that out, I have to go through the list of every employee. Okay.
Other questions or comments on agenda items?
The lists are on the website.
It's
The
up
lists are
there,
on the
the BOE website?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, PD is the first meeting of the month, so we have committee and liaison reports. Let's start with Michael DeLu.
I think the only thing that, since our last reports, I think we had a curriculum committee meeting. Actually, I think it was before the last report, so I heard.
Okay. We've had negotiations.
We have had negotiations. Negotiations continue on with the GREA, our hopeful level reaching contracts.
Heather?
Sorry, I don't. Lyndon's last meeting was during our exec session, and I haven't touched base yet. So
Okay.
next time I'll update you.
Anthony?
No report.
No report. Tracy?
Yes, the Personnel and Policy Committee met on April 23rd to discuss personnel issues, and in addition, we had a brief conference call last week to discuss the last minute policy question. Grace will be meeting this week. Their final parent-to-parent meeting is scheduled for this Wednesday, May 15th at 7:30 at the train station. In addition to addressing the concerns from parents in the group, they'll be discussing their programs for the following year. And the Educational Foundation, I attended their April meeting with Mr. Phillips, and several mini grants were reviewed and approved. They're also looking to adopt a new logo and will be working to develop a website. And there will be another meeting tomorrow, May 15th.
Okay, thank you. Paul?
The Facilities and Finance Committee had a meeting on the 25th of April. Something about the opportunity to take a tour of Central School and observe some of the progress that's being made there. Very pleased to report, as Griffin described, that we seem to be on schedule, consistent with our plans. Very pleased by that. And we're discussing many of the items that are on the agenda this evening, expenditures associated with security and the like, and how we might accommodate for that in our budget.
Okay. I did not attend the Ridgewood Avenue Nobleman School Association meeting for the same reason that Heather did not attend the Linden meeting. We were here in exec session at the same time. But I did consult with Nicole Quinn, who is the president there. She wanted to report out that quiz night raised approximately $44,000, which has been designated for new furniture at Ridgewood Avenue School. They're excited about the 5th grade Maker Days, which are happening this week, and all the 5th graders get to construct a pinball machine, which they get to take home. The 6th grade STEAM Career Day is coming up on Friday, and they're very excited about that. And also in the offing are the Rhino Romp and Field Day in a few weeks, I think, if it ever stops raining. And they're also in the midst of planning some very exciting 6th grade promotion activities for that whole week when the 6th graders are right before 6th grade promotion. So that is the Ridgewood Avenue report. Now, David, do you have anything to report?
I do not.
Okay, Ally?
I too was unable to attend the High School Public School Association meeting. It's in a conflict with our executive session. But I did receive some notes from Julie Stolte, the president, I'll share with you. Testing at the high school, AP testing started on May 6th and is wrapping up shortly. The high school will have administered over almost 600 AP tests. Following that is the NJSLA. Grades 7 through 10 will be taking the test May 20th through the 21st, and grade 11 is not taking the test. Science testing in June for grades 8 and 11. Dr. Harris reported about the community read, which went very well, followed by a visit to the 9/11 Memorial in New York City. The kids were terrific. They had the opportunity to meet with alumni Juliet Candela, who shared her experience and showed the children her father's name on the 9/11 Memorial, which really made it real for them. The Arts and Eco Fair was held this past weekend, which was an amazing day. It was a great success. Teacher Appreciation Week just wrapped up at the high school with a potluck breakfast on the 6th. And there was a reminder that the 8th grade dinner dance is June 14th, and they're looking for 8th grade parent volunteers to help with that. And that is the end of my report.
Teresa?
Forest Avenue didn't have any meetings last month, and we're back to this, so I was ready to set that.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have some administrative items. Michael, would you move the administrative items?
Sure. I will move A1 and 2.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on administrative items that is allowable in public session?
No, we don't do
Ah,
but we'll
one
do
minute.
that.
We'll do the administrative items, then move the minutes. Thank you. Okay, any discussion on administrative items? Barbara, would you call the roll on the administrative items?
Mr. Bennett?
Aye.
Ms. Boyle Luigi?
Aye.
Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. DeLue?
Aye.
Ms. Lang?
Aye.
Mr. Romano?
Aye.
Ms. San Harbor?
Aye.
Dr. Yaros Ramos?
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And now, for the minutes of April 29th, you have in your packages the minutes from the exec session and the regular meeting of April 29th. David, would you move the minutes?
I move that one.
May I have a second?
Second.
Second from Anthony. Any changes or additions to those minutes? Anything? Okay, Barbara, would you call the roll on the minutes?
Mr. Bennett?
Aye.
Ms. Boyle Luigi? Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. DeLue?
Aye.
Ms. Lang? Mr. Romano?
Aye.
Ms. San Harbor?
Aye.
Dr. Yaros Ramos? Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye. Okay, Tracy, would you move the personnel items?
Yes, I move P1 through P8, and in addition to the items on the addendum, P2 and P3.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Second from Ally. In keeping with our rules, personnel items are discussed in executive session. Does anyone have any reason not to vote on these items at this time? Okay, Barbara, when you're ready.
Mr. Bennett?
Aye.
Ms. Boyle Luigi? Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. DeLue?
Aye.
Ms. Lang? Mr. Romano?
Aye.
Ms. San Harbor?
Aye.
Dr. Yaros Ramos?
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Now, Michael, I will not forget a second time, the curriculum items, would you move them, please?
Yes, I'll move C1 and all of the spots.
Okay. May I have a second on curriculum? Second from Heather. Any questions on these field trips under C1? Okay, Barbara, when you're ready.
Mr. Bennett?
Aye.
Ms. Boyle Luigi? Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. DeLue?
Aye.
Ms. Lang?
Aye.
Mr. Romano?
Aye.
Ms. San Harbor?
Aye.
Dr. Yaros Ramos? Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Before we move to business items, I'd like to draw your attention to B9, which is a generous donation of funds to fund the 6th grade move up from, and forgive my pronunciation, Papasikos Orthodontics. We thank them very much. And now, Paul, would you move business
I'd
items?
like to move items B1 through B10.
Okay, may I have a second? Second. I think I saw Teresa first. Any discussion on any of these business items, which includes financial reports, workshops and conferences, professional services, donations, etc.? Any discussion? All right, Barbara, when you're ready.
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Ms. Boyle Luigi? Aye. Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Drew?
Aye.
Ms. Lang? Mr. Romano?
Aye.
Ms. St. Aubert? Aye. Dr. Yaros Ringos?
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carried.
We've come to the second public comment period for comments or questions on agenda or other items. Mrs. Sawa.
Yes, I saw Glen Ridge. A few moments ago, you asked us regarding A1 and A2 if there was any comments or discussions, quote, that could occur regarding these two items, which are HIV items. Could you give me the examples of the type of things that could be discussed? You asked for comment or discussion. What could be discussed on HIV?
Well, Athena, would you speak to that, just what we can legally discuss about those in public session?
Sure, it wouldn't be the substance of the claim, it would be maybe the timing, or if there's anything the board has to take action on, or those kinds of things, in terms of the process,
What do you mean by timing?
in terms of the process.
How would anybody, certainly in the audience, be able to comment on that? And how, I've never heard anybody up here comment on something like that. We've always been told we can't discuss HIV.
The
Athena, I think
specifics.
she misunderstood when she thinks when Betsy said any comments or discussion, she was directing that at non-her.
Let me say what I thought. I thought she meant everybody,
No.
Yeah.
both the board and the,
Oh, yeah, no, she was just asking the board.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes, every once in a while, somebody wants to table something, and that would be the discussion.
okay, so the audience cannot discuss it at all?
No.
Can the audience file Oprah requests for them?
Yes.
Athena?
Over request, I'm sorry, for?
Can a parent in the district file an Oprah request for redacted HIV issues? Forms, paperwork?
You can file an Oprah request, depending on the nature of the request and the information that you're requesting, we may or may not be able to give it to you.
Well, what can you
But if not,
give?
it would be redacted form.
What could you give in redacted form? What would you allow on an HIV Oprah request? What would you allow from the public?
Anything that's not personally identifiable.
That's not,
Personally identifiable?
but if you redact it, then it's not personally identifiable.
Correct.
So
you would
you're
receive-
willing to give out redacted HIV reports if we fill out an Oprah request?
It's not a willingness, it's what the law requires, so.
Well,
if
does
we-
the
if we-
law require that?
If we receive a request, we would review it under the law, and if we're able to disclose information that's not personally identifiable, then we would.
Okay, Mrs. Sawa?
Yes. Just for the record, and so everybody knows, I have filed Oprahs for multiple HIV reports, and I have been able to get them, quote, redacted. I have years' worth. So the point is, if you're interested in seeing what goes on in HIV in a rather limited form, but each report's maybe 5 or 6 pages long, you can file Oprah, and unless they change the rules, you should be able to get it in redacted, like
Thank
with
you.
people's names taken out of it. I encourage everyone to do that.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Mrs. Sawa, you had your hand up, yes?
Yes, I have one statement and then one question. The statement is, and I have said this almost every meeting now for quite a while, is the rules are applied selectively. And I agree, I enjoyed these questions, and I'm glad that he was able to ask more, and I wish he was actually able to ask even more. But when you repeatedly, in your meetings, and I've seen it for years now, you gavel out people who you don't like their comments, and you do it well before their 2 minutes sometimes, or you selectively let people who like what they have to say go on for quite a while. And it undercuts the credibility of the entire board when you treat different people differently based on your likes and your preferences. And when I say you, it's not just you, it's all of you. I'd also like to point out that Mr. Campbell here actually was permitted to interrupt and be disruptive. And you didn't gavel him. He's done that repeatedly and been disrespectful. So I wish you would be consistent in applying your rules.
Yes.
Hi, Michelle Sweat. I think that having a warm body, like a trained professional, would be more beneficial than this technology, because technology can only do so much. So Friday, I volunteered at the high school to hang the art for the eco fair. I walked up to the door, the mailman was coming out, he held the door for me, I walked right in. I could have went left, right, any which way. There was 4 students blocking the secretary. It was not her fault at all. They were either signing out or going out to lunch, whatever they were doing. She did not see me. A security guard at the door would have stopped me like this. But $564,000 worth of equipment, and I'm still in. Anyone can piggyback the Panera guy, the pizza guy, the students coming out. It's easy. It's easier than you think to walk in and out. But if there's an actual security guard, none of that could happen.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Mr. Trot?
I want to jump back to P1, give you a second to think about the personnel. The people that we didn't rehire because we didn't like their performance, did we hire substitute to take over those positions? Or did we just drop that position from the role?
Those positions will be filled for next school year. We'd have to rehire those positions.
Were they rehired in this?
Not under P1. Any new hires will be listed separately. I'm not sure if there's any new hires on this agenda off the top of my head.
Do you plan to rehire one-to-one on who didn't get hired back because of performance? It seems like it was performance issues. So if they weren't performing well, thankfully, we made a decision not to rehire them. But are we going to go one-for-one on those positions? Because we're really light on certain positions. And you're not telling me which positions weren't rehired, so I can't follow up with questions. I'm going to have to go by your online form and look at every teacher from last year to this year and figure out who's not coming back. So I'll do it. You could have just told us, but I'll do the work.
Well, that becomes a personnel issue, and I can't tell you who's being non-renewed, because that's an individual name I'd have to, or a position which would identify the individual.
Are you going to rehire one-to-one?
So if we're not hiring, if we're not renewing someone, we will be hiring a replacement for that position.
By the start of next school
By the
year?
start of next school year.
Thank you. Other questions or comments?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about
Your name, please.
oh, sorry, Leanne Cabrera. I wanted to talk a little bit about aftercare and the new fees that are proposed, that were just proposed for that. I realize it's maybe, that budget has already been approved, but I just wanted to sort of voice my and other aftercare parents' concerns about the new rates, being that it's not very accommodating for a lot of families. Now it's one to 2 days for, a certain fee, 3 to 4 days, for example, my family only needs, 3 days of care, whereas, now we're thinking that we would need 4 days of care for, and that spot could be filled by someone else's family. And then there's also the sibling discount has been completely removed, which I know a lot of families depend on, like my family. I have 2 children in the aftercare system. We've been in aftercare for, like 9 years, 10 years now. And also, the as-needed care has also been taken away as well, which is also, with working families like that, we utilize that so often, where a parent has unexpected meetings they can't pick up right at 3 p.m. and I'm wondering why those major changes have been made and just sort of not been explained at all.
Do you want to address that at all?
Some of those changes were recommendations by the director. One of the things we did is research what other surrounding districts were doing, which they have a much less complicated system in place where you're paying, some districts you're paying 5 days no matter how many days you're using, and that's all they offer. Excuse me. When we compared our prices, even our new prices, we were significantly lower than the surrounding areas of what they're charging their students for and parents for aftercare. So we took those things into consideration as we devised a new plan for payment options for aftercare.
What about addressing the as-needed care or sibling discounts that had been in place for many, many years, and now those have suddenly been taken away?
It was a decision that we made based on trying to simplify the system, payment options a little bit. It was because it was becoming a bit of a bookkeeping nightmare. It was also, I think with the as needed, we were having problems of giving students information to make sure that there wasn't any concerns prior to that student coming in, whether it's allergies, concerns, medical concerns that could be met. It's something we could always go back and revisit. I'd have to look at the number to, and speak with the aftercare director to find out how frequently those services were being offered.
They've been offered since we've been.
I mean, that people are actually using. I got the impression based that they weren't being utilized a lot, so that's why we stopped offering.
And also, as far as communication is concerned with aftercare as well, there's, the children aren't able to go outside until 5:30 now, apparently because it's a security issue. Whereas before, right after school, they take attendance, have a snack, and go outside. And now, I was told that it's a security issue and they have to wait till everybody leaves the playground. Whereas, before care kids, they go out at 8:20 and it's crazy, like for example at the Linden playground that I'm talking about, it's crazy when, all the kids are out there playing and then the aftercare kids come out and it doesn't seem to be a problem. I'm paying for, it's well staffed. I'm not seeing the issue where it's never been an issue before.
I will have to follow up on that.
Thank you. Other questions or comments?
I have one last, are you done, Leah?
Yeah.
Yes.
When we do staffing, do we consider the middle school, high school as one umbrella? Or do we really think of them as two schools who are joined together?
It's really a little combination of both. We try to create a middle school teacher as much as possible, depending on their ability to have a full schedule. They might teach them high school classes, or there might be a need for them to teach 1 or 2 high school classes based on the high school schedule. But for the most part, if you're teaching at the middle school level, Mr. Picars is here. He's a middle school science teacher. He only teaches, right, middle school science? Or you?
Yes. I'm talking about additional staff too, learning consultants, aides. It seems like it's blanket for the whole entire building, and I can appreciate that we're a smaller district, but middle school student, and I appreciate also that you enacted Dr. Harris as an assistant principal just for the middle school this year, based on what happened in previous years and maybe needing that personnel there. But I'm curious about some of the support staff that are just too wide within too many grades and not enough support staff per different school, and really thinking about the middle school as a middle school and the high school as a high school.
We try to keep them, the personnel separated from middle school to high school, but for efficiency reasons, There's times where they are being mixed.
But we only have one learning consultant for 6 grades of special education in this school, to my knowledge. Correct?
There's only one learning consultant in this building.
And if that learning consultant is working on, let's say, behavioral issues, I just know it's a her, so I'm saying her because I'm not being disrespectful, but I know it's a her. If she's focusing on behavioral issues, who's focusing on the learning issues? If we only have one. And if we have multiple issues in multiple grades and only have that one person, how are we helping all these students with the personnel that we have?
At times, we have learning consultants working in multiple buildings to match the need of the building. So we do have 2 learning consultants. We had 3 with Lyndon Evers and Waltham had retired this year. So there are times based on needs where the consultants will travel to different buildings to meet the needs of those buildings.
And I'm not trying to be combative, but I'd like to put on the record, there are times that I felt that we weren't getting the right services from a learning consultant because she was busy doing other stuff and neglected some of the issues that we needed for them, and we don't have the personnel to do 2 things at once. It's just not possible.
We know what your concern. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? There being none, may I have a motion to adjourn into exec session briefly again?
Motion.
Second? Second. There'll be no further business, public business concluded tonight.